Guys, we got breaking news. The former CEO of Ferrari just got a personal guided tour by William Li, showing him new houses, swap station, NIO swap infrastructure, etc. And he said it was very impressive.
Hi, Mr. Todd. Welcome to our NIO swap station. 3 minutes.
That's very impressed. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Thank you.
Great experience.
Great experience.
Now, he served as the CEO of Ferrari from 2004 to 2008. Also served as the president of FIA, which is the Federation International Automobili, which is road governing, safety, etc. And he also currently serves as the UN Secretary General's special envoy for road safety. So this could mean that we could, of course, this is good international recognition. He's a well-known person outside, and his wife, current wife, Michelle Yeoh, is also a very famous actress. So this is definitely good recognition for battery swap. And also, it would be very interesting if he helps push and mandate battery swap at his current position at UN, and perhaps push the global automobile market to, in essence, pay attention to battery life longevity and also recyclability, because it is a very big problem with these batteries on these EVs when they're degraded after a couple of years, and it just becomes a huge problem for everybody, the consumer, the manufacturer, the government. So it's very important to have something like battery swap that is capable of recycling batteries and prolonging the lifespan of batteries. And it's very important, and he said it was impressive. So it's also very important to have this kind of sustainability in terms of time and energy consumption, using electricity when it's the cheapest and not overload the grid. So, you know, it would be very interesting if he promoted that. Could there be a possible partnership with Ferrari? Maybe, but even if we do, this would be very early stages. So I'm not saying that we're going to get a partnership. Probably not. Even if we do, it's very early stages. It's probably going to happen maybe like 2 or 3 years later, if it does happen. But it would be very interesting. I mean, like, Ferrari, they don't really have a pure EV offering. If they do, then that would be very nice if they could also use NIO's battery swap system. But that is, of course, way down the line. But let's talk about something a little bit more spicy. So Baillie Gifford, the big institutional investor in NIO, sells 84% of their NIO stock, according to a recent filing. Now, this is so they reduced their holdings from 114.92 million shares down to 18.91 million shares as of recent filing. So these guys, they were a big proponent, very bullish on NIO stock, a big holder of NIO stock, but now they've reduced the stake. They've trimmed it down. They're not completely out. If they're completely out, I would say that's very bad, but they just trimmed their stake, sort of like how Warren Buffett trimmed his stake in BYD. So in my opinion, there's actually really nothing to be that worried about. They're just divesting themselves. They don't want to be too invested in NIO, which I could understand, but right now, you know, right now is a very cheap price for NIO stock. This is like the cheapest that you'll ever get, one of the cheapest prices. Think about back 2-3 years ago, you would have to have bought NIO stock at $40+. Now you can get 90% off on NIO stock. And what has changed since then? All right. Apart from sentiment, which has gotten very pessimistic, the company has gotten a lot better in terms of infrastructure. There's way more swap stations now than there were back then. They got a lot more core technologies right now than they did back then. They got a lot more partners right now than they got back then. Before, they didn't even have a chip division or mobile phone, but now they have that as well. Their own personalized chip, manufacturing their chips. They got the self-designed chips, the God chip, the NX chip. That, my friend, you know, that's a huge thing. You know, that alone could make the government support NIO. That's how crazy it is, because China is kind of a behind in terms of chip development. There's only like a couple guys doing chips here in China domestically. They've had very big reliance on American makers and Intel, Qualcomm, etc. But only Huawei and now NIO. Think about it that way, right? So this is pretty insane that they've poured a lot of R&D money into this, and they've made it very, very good. And I'm sure the government here in China knows about NIO's chip developments, and this is also something that they could possibly stand behind and support NIO full throttle and just really help NIO out. Now, if you're really considering selling, you got to ask yourself, the reason why you bought into NIO stock, are the reasons still valid, right? Are they still a very good company? They are indeed still a very good company. And I've seen in my chat conversations, a lot of people are worried about profitability and profitability like that. Think about it this way. Li Auto, they've been able to, be one of the first companies to reach profitability here in China out of Xpeng and NIO, but they have zero infrastructure. So when they launched the Li Auto Mega, they had basically only 300 5C chargers, and people weren't buying into that. And that's just nothing. And now they're really pushing ahead on infrastructure, but that means they got to put out a lot of money on infrastructure, and they're just way behind on infrastructure. They only have like a couple hundred chargers compared to NIO, right? NIO has more than 4,000 and then 2,000 some swap stations combined, 6,000 plus units of infrastructure. Just absolutely crazy. Just the infrastructure alone is worth 2 billion plus the cash. Then you are at 10 billion. So therefore, NIO's current stock price, market cap, is significantly undervalued. All right. Just the cash and infrastructure alone is worth more, and you're not counting in the factory, you're not counting in the patents, the other cool stuff that they have, the chip, the patents for the chips, etc. So this is all, the fear is getting a bit too much. It's getting a bit too much, and when everybody's fearful, you got to be a little bit greedy. When everybody's greedy, you got to be quite fearful, right? And in my opinion, Baillie Gifford selling it's just them divesting. There's nothing too special about it. They're just lowering their stake. It's very normal. They still got 18 million shares, right? And also, in my personal opinion, people are very happy to invest in NIO and to believe in the future of NIO, like Abu Dhabi guys. There's actually images quite recently that NIO is already there. All right now it's April. In 2 months, June, NIO is going to be launching in the Middle East. That's going to be also very, very nice. And guys, I've said this many times and also in the past, in my personal opinion, NIO will not go bankrupt ever, because just infrastructure alone is worth billions, and companies will be happily to buy up NIO, basically buy NIO, and just for the infrastructure alone. All right, so it is essentially impossible for NIO to go bankrupt. Also, the government does not want NIO to fall, so they would happily, pick up NIO into their own arms. So there's no risk of bankruptcy in my personal opinion. All right. So I think right now is an excellent price to buy more NIO stock. I've gone all in, guys. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.